And the flip side is a claim that she wants her old carefree actress life back. Esther, I'm not sure she knows what she wants.
I don't think so. I do think that sort of the kind of media coverage that she's had, the exposure, she was basically really kind of rocketed to superstardom in terms of celebrity overnight, just by being associated with a member of the royal family and someone like Prince Harry, who's now, I believe, sixth in line to the throne. But I do think there is some merit to what she's saying about the fact that she wasn't really followed by paparazzi. They didn't follow her into restaurants. She was kind of famous adjacent. She had some sort of B-list roles in a few shows, and she was comfortable. She had a blog and all of that, but she wasn't as famous as she is now. So I think maybe she's citing the level of media intrusion just because of who she is now. But I certainly don't think she wants the life in terms of not having had her kids or meeting Prince Harry, or certainly not having the likes of the Clooneys or
Mm.
Oprah Winfrey at her wedding. I think there are aspects of her fame now that have certainly benefited her that she certainly wouldn't have even dreamed of having access to. I mean, how many people get to literally marry a prince, become members of the royal family, meet the queen, then profit off slagging off the institution that basically made her world famous. So I understand her point, but I don't think she wants it in its entirety, and she's living a much lavish lifestyle than she's ever had.
Now, there have been murmurings for some time about Meghan's expose, but a report this week says that it's pending legal advice. Now, look, that's obviously very prudent, but it also raises some eyebrows about the potential content.
Yes, there is that, but I think the bigger fear is the litigious nature of the Sussexes. We know that they will most likely sue because their image and how they present it to the media is very important to them. We can see that in Prince Harry's sort of vendetta against the British media. That's the only thing he's literally been flying back and forth to the UK from on a regular basis outside of his Invictus games. So we know that no matter what comes out, they are likely to sue. So the German broadcaster ZDF, which have commissioned this documentary, they're trying to cover all bases. They've been interviewing people like the Sussex's neighbor in Montecito, an elderly man called Frank, who's doesn't find the couple to be very friendly. Apparently, they left him standing in front of their door and just has rebuffed their advances, his advances to try and be close to the couple. They've been interviewing members of or people from Meghan's past. I don't know if they got access to her ex-husband, but again, that could be another bombshell moment. But really, there's this huge intrigue into her life now and her life, previously before she met Prince Harry. And I'm sure that there are elements of that Meghan and Harry don't want out there, particularly if, as you say, she has ambitions to enter politics. I mean, that's the kind of thing that's the kind of stain that you just cannot remove, and I'm sure it will do them no favors. And at that point, if they have sort of a plethora of people from her past and present saying things that contradict the kind of narrative or picture she wants to paint of herself, it would be really difficult for her to play the victim, because if 100 people are saying one thing and you're saying something else, I don't think the public will be very convinced.
No, I think that's fair. Now, look, an interesting piece in the UK Telegraph this week about the palace redefining itself for the King's reign and publishing a new set of written values. How have those values been updated?
So the new values that have been published by the palace have included things like staying curious and trying to shape a better world. Really kind of fluffier, more almost entrepreneurial and ambitious language. But I think it keeps in line with the kind of change, fairly radical change, that the king has always said he wants to undergo, which is slimming down the royal family. So they're going to focus on the core members of the royal family and try and exploit what they do to the max, trying to get them really focused on initiatives that can make the most out of the few members of the royal family that it has left. So you can see they've kind of sidelined Zara Tindall and her husband, Beatrix, and all of the other kind of more peripheral members of the royal family. The Sussexes have long gone, but again, the royal family has maintained that kind of separation between the core members of the royal family and the more auxiliary members will remain in place. So it's just kind of marketing to indicate what the king is looking to do. And it's also in line with kind of slimming down the costs of the royal family. We know that many royal estates are undergoing significant renovations, which are costing hundreds of millions of pounds. And so because of that, they also have to kind of negotiate how to make the most out of the working members of the royal family, to make the most impact, but also to be the most cost effective.
Now, I've only got a little less than a minute for you, but the New York Times had an interesting piece this week about the royal finances and the revenue that they receive from offshore wind farms and the like. Can you run us through this?
Yeah, so the royal many so the land on the sort of Crown Estate that is sort of for underwater seabeds have received a boost because the government has decided to commission more offshore wind farms. So that has contributed to rising profits in the sort of the Crown Estate. Now the actual royal family only gets about 12% of in terms of the sovereign grant, so the profits that is made from the Crown Estate, and the rest, I believe 88% of it goes to the government to use for the public interest, as it's called. So that's why they're seeing a revenue boost. Also, tourism for for the royal households have returned to pre-COVID levels. So that's also given a boost to the royal finances, which is why you're seeing a bit of a pay rise for the king and the royal family to conduct their activities.
Esher Krakue, as always, thank you so much for joining us.